Hey sis.
Hey sis, what up?
Hey you all. Welcome back to Hold Up. Let me
Let me
call my
call my
sis.
sis on my video phone.
I'm your girl T Jamaica Pogue, affectionately known as Deconstructing Neuro.
And I am LaMia Radiant. The only way I will be known on this platform.
And that's that on that.
Mm.
Hi.
So yeah, what's been popping? I know it's been well, T does the editing and puts all of the episodes out. So I know we're like a little behind, but are we caught up? I don't know how long y'all been waiting, how long we left y'all.
Yeah, well, with how things have been going, it doesn't seem like we're
Or behind.
we're caught up now.
Yeah.
But just to give you guys a little context, so we usually record on Fridays, and the goal is to have the episode out by that following Monday. But a lot of things happened in July with like my travels. I'm not gonna go into it. You want more info? We have episodes about that. Go back and
yes.
But anyway, so that caused us to like delay one episode that was recorded all the way back on July 4th, but then like chop and screw it with one that was recorded like 2 weeks later. And then we recorded the episode that I just put out on today, which is Friday, August 8th. But we recorded it last Friday, August 1st. So it was supposed to come out this Monday. Now, granted, there was a mixture of my procrastination and also me being interrupted sometimes when I did finally decide to sit down and start editing. And then I got sidetracked. And so, anyway,
ADHD
like I said, exactly. As long as this episode comes out on the 11th,
okay.
Ish.
Well, y'all let us know when y'all got this.
exactly. But when it comes to the editing and all that, I'm a one woman show. So give me a little bit of grace, please.
Cause I ain't doing it. I guess I could if it came down to it, but Lord, no, my capacity for this type of stuff.
I was gonna say this is why I didn't even ask you. I just assumed that this role.
It's hard.
When we agreed to do this shit.
Yeah. Maybe if I wasn't doing it at my actual job, I would have, some space to help with it. So we'll see. We'll see if things balance out.
It's all good, big sister. Because like I said, I get it. Even when I start going back to work, like it's still
because your job is very different. Like you're not having to be
exactly. Like I don't have to be on a computer at all. Which I find
it's very nice.
And yes, it's very refreshing. Speaking of that, like since I finally disclosed, because I never really talked about it before, but I realized on last week's episode I finally did say what I do for a living now. And so yeah, I never really talked about it. And I'm actually looking forward to going back to work. Only because not only, but like mainly because I am autistic, I crave structure. And the ADHD, a lot of the times I need some external motivation, not fully. Like I don't need to be puppeted. I don't need somebody like pulling all the strings, but sometimes I need some external motivation that'll keep me on track, right? So, knowing that I have to be at a place at a certain time, and I'll be there for a certain time, helps you to also kind of like schedule things around it.
True.
And so I joined the gym. Once I'm working again, I'm going to actually invest in a personal trainer, like once a week type deal. And I remember the last time that I was at like my peak health. It was because I had like a routine.
Yeah, that is very true. Like routines. Yeah. As much as I'm an independent spirit, I will say like it is nice. And for me, it's less about like me sticking like to it to a T, and more so like I have a bit of a boundary, guideline, a structure that like, but I'm not like, oh, if something comes up or if I just don't feel like it, to some extent. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just have to, if you have a goal, you're gonna have to get the thing done anyway. If you really, because that's how I am very goal oriented though. So if I know, listen, this, I do want to submit this thing by this date. That's the date I have to have it submitted. Like all I need to know is the finish line. Everything in between, I can kind of
figure it out,
self manage, right?
Yeah. And I'm the same way. So if I don't have like at least like some kind of external, sense of urgency, then it's almost impossible to get started. And that's another thing too. Once I do get started, I'm started. You know what I mean?
That's true too.
I've been finding it a little difficult to start a routine this summer because I feel like it's been an elongated version of this like phenomenon that I've seen that a lot of other autistic people have too, and even some people with ADHD. It might be an overlapping similarity where like if we know we have something to do later in the day, it's almost like your body and your mind is in is like buffering and it's in like wait mode, and it's hard for you to do other things up until then. So like that's why sometimes I'll try to like schedule my doctor's appointments for early in the morning,
so that you're up and you
I'm up and I'm ready and I can do that. And then after that, if there's other things I need to do, it's kind of like an object in motion remains in motion type thing. But if I get up and the only thing I absolutely have to do that day is a doctor's appointment, but there's other things that I maybe want to get done, if that doctor's appointment isn't until like 2, a lot of other people would be like, well, yeah, bitch, you got the whole morning to do other things that you wanted to do, and then you can go to your doctor's appointment. Now, I said the autism. The autism said, actually, there's no, you can't do anything until this appointment because this is what you have to do. And it makes being motivated to do other things kind of difficult. And I feel like I'm in this like holding pattern. And even though I'm cognizant of that, it doesn't like change the fact that it's like a thing, right? And so I feel like I've been feeling that way this whole summer when it comes to like establishing a routine. And I feel like even as I'm saying it, like it's an excuse. Like it sounds like an excuse for like
I feel like you, yeah.
Like why haven't you started like really working on your routine and being more consistent with going to the gym? And it's kind of like because I know I can't. Whatever I'm doing now isn't going to line up with what I'm doing
once you start.
Year. And the reason why I can't like start a mock idea of that is because I have no idea what I'm going to be doing in the school year yet.
Yeah,
we have a meeting next week, and I don't know what we're going over in the meeting next week. I hope it's giving us route assignments. Because if that's the case, then that gives me 2 weeks before school even starts. 2, maybe almost 3 weeks before school even starts. To be like, okay, now I know this is my schedule. Maybe I'll start doing a trial run now so that I can, but it's difficult for me to be like, yeah, let me establish a routine now, knowing that I'm going to have to change it very soon. It's like I'm in waiting mode. It's like, well, no, you can't start right now because the thing you have to do doesn't start until later. And so it's like, and I hate that. I really fucking hate that. It's really...
That you don't want to start a rhythm and then have something interject into that rhythm anyway. But
the fucked up thing is like part of me does. It's a part of my mind that wants to because like I want to get started now. The sooner I start, doing the things that I gotta do, the quicker I'll get to my goals.
There might be small things you can do to kind of like to kind of begin or kind of meet both urges. Because like, for instance, like I was telling myself the same thing for the month of August. I was like, August, like it could be a trial month because at least I'll, Noah will be back in school. So I know what that's going to feel like, even though I haven't started my teaching schedule yet. I can still, but he, like most of my schedule revolves around him anyway. So like, and then I have a very clear, like, office hour schedule. The only thing for me that's not I know what my teaching hours will be. It's just that we haven't started class, but I know when I'm teaching. And so I was telling myself the exact same thing. I'm like, get into your workout, like this, you should be working out 3 times a week. Chad, I worked out 1 time last week. But what I like about it is that, okay, so I still have this week, there's still tomorrow. And I told Noah, I was like, we got to get up and I have to do what I did the one time last week. Because if I at least have like okay, this is what I like to do. I like running. I like cycling. Let me at least do that, even if it's once a week. And it's and you know, like even if you know, like you might not know your work schedule, but you know you have the weekends off. So you can decide for this month, I'm gonna do this thing on a Saturday and at least create a structure of like my workout will be like this. So maybe this won't be the schedule of my workout, but I know I want to try to make my workouts like this and plan that. That's how I meet myself in the middle, you know? So now I know my running days or my like cardio days will be a certain way because I'm kind of playing and setting that right now. So yeah.
Because I'm a bitch that loves to plan.
Yeah, and not having to think when you go into the gym when you're really ready is really good. So you don't want to have to think. So you should decide like my cardio day will be this, my weight training days will be like this, and then maybe you split the weight training between like upper and lower, or like you split the weight training days between full body and then just isolated weight training. Because I usually do it that way. I'll have like weighted days where I'm doing like almost like HIIT workouts, but like with weights, right? So they're short, but they're really like impactful,
high intensity,
right? But then my other two workout days is usually like all cardio one, and then the other one is more like isolated, just like this deadlifts, like just the weight stuff. Okay. So I kind of do like 3 kinds of workouts in that way. Yeah. I'm actually excited.
Is that the turtle? Not the other pet being elusive. She already sniped.
They got a cat and a turtle. The turtle loud now too?
I could hear some clicking and the cat ain't in here, so it gotta be her.
Oh Jesus.
I can't win. Anyway, big sister, thank you very much for the advice. We'll talk a little bit more about that too, because like, no, that's really, really good. Like, I can do that like tomorrow. I can definitely like go, because I'm supposed to like do some laundry. But it's a small thing of laundry. I can do that after, like, go to the gym, figure out like how I want to do, like what kind of like rotation I'll do on the machines. Because like again, I have a little bit of time also before I even have the personal trainer. And they'll be there to like help like evaluate like, okay, well, is this stuff that you should be doing anyway? How are you doing it? And then okay, now it's time to switch it up so that your body doesn't get so used to what you're doing. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I'm excited.
I believe in you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh. Hey. Pause.
Okay. All right, we paused and now we're back.
All right. Okay, so tonight's watcher and dancer topic is a bit broad, so we're going to try to keep it brief because, well, like you guys don't know much. My sister and I, we usually have to talk about these topics.
We got to talk about the talk.
We have to get our, I guess, I don't know if it's like our stems, if it is a form of that, maybe. But, you know, we have to kind of like allow ourselves to kind of get everything out, even if it's fluff. And then it makes it more palatable for you guys. So this topic in particular is a little bit broad, and it's actually courtesy of probably a friend of the pod at this point. We have to invite her on, my homie Faye Monet. She and I were talking after she actually listened to all of our episodes, which we highly recommend you all do as well. She listened to it on a really long journey, road trip, and it was So this topic is courtesy of her. And kind of like some insights that she got from listening to our pod, to be honest. So it's very interesting. Okay, so yeah, the topic for today is: are there any safe spaces for Black women? And for my friend in particular, and I mean, I almost venture to say us, but she is more outwardly queer than I guess we are, both vocally and even like just by observation. Like she's a very unique
I
human.
do have a septum piercing. Like, do I not read bisexual?
Are these queer? Are nose piercings queer?
The septum piercing usually is a dead giveaway, but I digress.
Yeah, that's true. But if we're going,
at one point I had an undercut with the septum. Like it was very much an undercut. Remember, I had that short haircut.
Oh yeah. It is giving very nigga bigger titter.
Yeah.
But yes, like so. But she's and I guess we could even talk about this some too, like specifically queer women of color, or women of color. And even when women of color is kind of odd to me because I feel like even if you're talking about Latinos and Middle Eastern, like there's still something very specific to like
Black women. Yeah, I love the correction, but like we're not talking about are there any safe spaces for women of color. We're going to talk about
even though we are camaraderie, you know, we have camaraderie with them. We, you know, a lot of times our spaces can be shared, but
we have a shared struggle in many regards, but it's not the same.
Not the same.
And it's different. We're not minimizing, we're pointing out the differences.
Correct. Correct. So, what are your thoughts on, are there any safe spaces? Are there?
So, currently I don't feel like there is, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you think about like the fact that we live in a society that is built on a hierarchy, which is like basically synonymous with like privilege, because where you fall in the hierarchy determines what kind of privilege you either have or don't have. Mm-hmm. To be a woman and to be Black, like doubly disenfranchises you. And then if you have any other kind of marginalized identities on top of it, it's just like compounding the intersectionality, right? Mm-hmm. So in a society that centers and uplifts whiteness and maleness, inherently in that system, there was never like constructed a space for Black women to survive beyond serving the system, so much less like thrive and excel, like live a life beyond being someone's mule, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I don't feel like there are even really any safe spaces for Black women. And even amongst ourselves sometimes, because even though, you know, ever since November, there's this whole thing, especially here in America, with Black women proudly proclaiming to be part of the 92%, in reference to the fact that 92% of Black women who voted in November voted for Kamala Harris, and were the largest demographic who voted for her by the largest margin. You know, so many people say I'm a 92%er as a way to like signify like I'm a Black woman who is for Black women, because we all know that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. But the same goes for just because you're a Black woman doesn't mean that you don't have internalized misogyny and or internalized white supremacy that makes you a unsafe space for a Black woman who has decentered whiteness and decentered patriarchy. Right. Which a lot of Black women who are on a genuine healing journey and returning to our roots and standing in our power have been on a journey of doing those very things, decentering whiteness and decentering patriarchy. And I think the only way to have safe spaces for real for us is for us to build it and to be 100% 10 toes down comfortable with gatekeeping it, because we have a tendency of being like, we are communal by nature. We want to it's like contrary to us to be exclusive. But we need to understand that the power that we possess, that we are doing all this work to be reconnected to, there is a fee to access that. And part of that fee is like, you're not born into this. You're not even born into the club that could even participate in the litmus test to see if they can pay the fee. Like, I'm serious. Like, it needs to be that, like,
that exclusive.
gate kept. Yes, it's like, okay, so not only are you not Black, but or not only are you not a woman, you're not Black, or not only are you not Black just because you're a woman, like, you're not Black. So I'm not even going to go down the line to see what your other politics are or what your goals are, because you already don't even pass the basics of the litmus test to see if even you could qualify to be a part of this. And I feel like,
we got to at least start there, because our own can still be an issue.
Exactly, because
Candace Owens.
Hello. Like, she be getting on my nerves. I don't even want to talk about her, but what I mean.
That's what we mean by, like, Black and female is not the only
the shucking
criteria.
Exactly. So, but that's at least the first criteria to be even get to access the barrier to the litmus test to see if you even could be a part of that safe space. But I feel like we need to create it and keep it safe, keep it closed, like a closed practice type thing. Not because it's a superiority thing, but it is about it's not superiority, but it is a purity thing, right? And again, people will hear that and be like, what's the difference of them trying to make it all white? Right. Again, it's not because we're trying to say we're superior. The exclusivity is to keep the purity of the message and the mission, because when you let people in who don't appreciate or understand or connect with the significance, the cultural significance, the group significance of what you're trying to do, we have historical proof of what happens, especially when it's white people who interrupt. They water it down, they commercialize it, they commodify it, it loses all of its original meaning, and it turns into something that it wasn't supposed to be. And I feel like not only do we need, but we're owed places where we can genuinely feel safe, be ourselves, and like actually unmask. Because I feel like we, like, in our DNA, carry so much anxiety that we've never fully been able to relax. And studies have shown that anxiety can lead to autoimmune diseases and cardiovascular stress.
Yep.
And if we were able to create places where we could genuinely be safe and feel safe and relax and settle into our, like, authentic usness, imagine the healing that we would not only be able to do amongst us, but then would be able to go out into the world to provide, because we're already the healers.
We really are.
Even being the most beaten and broken down, we still.
But that's why we are.
Exactly, because it's who we are in our bones. So imagine giving us the space to rest and to be restored and to pour into each other.
Well, I have two thoughts from that. Yeah, but that's part. Well, there's two thoughts to that. That if when we do have safe places to do exactly that, we revitalize ourselves, rejuvenate ourselves, heal ourselves, so that we can go out and heal. The problem with that is that the others see that power and understand that if they allow us to actually recharge, like, then we're unstoppable. And that's exactly like that. They see it. So they try it in every way to keep us fucking, like, on edge all the time, nervous system fucked up, single parenthood, and having to manage life, and details of our life that should be at best shared with somebody else in order to, but that would allow us the space and energy to be powerful, and they can't have that. Like, I almost feel like a lot of the turmoil that Black women face, at least in America, but probably, I mean, I would assume almost everywhere, really. There's a few lucky bitches that get a man or somebody, and they are very far and few. Okay, but a lot of the obstacles that are set up against us are done almost unconsciously. They don't even realize that they're doing it because they're envious of how we operate despite them.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. I feel like, and we've talked about this before, like how things are inverted. Like nature and the energetic flow of nature has been inverted, whereas the creative force, the feminine, has been subjugated to serve the masculine, whereas it's supposed to be the creative vision is supported and brought into reality by the structure of the masculine. They're supposed to be working in concert with each other.
Not one better than the other, not one right.
Exactly. Balancing each other out, that yin and that yang. But we don't have that balance. We have an imbalance that has structure trying to dictate creativity and strangling creativity. That's why we've created societies and tropes within those societies and ideas and boxes that we put people into. And that includes perpetuating stereotypes that negatively impact and disenfranchise certain people because of the ideals, beliefs, agreements we've made as a society that have been perpetuated throughout time.
Yeah.
And to the point that you were making them seeing our power and then having to make up these narratives to kind of shift it. That's why things are the opposite, because like I was saying earlier, Black women, as much as we've been disenfranchised by being women and Black, and been systemically and individually a lot of the times harmed and suppressed, we still manage to be healers. And so that's just something that genuinely oozes out of us. We just can't help it. It's who we are. It's who we are at our core. And that highlights how much our inverse isn't like that. Yeah. And instead of being inspired to be more like that, what they have to do is project their inadequacies, project their feelings of feeling insecure onto us as as something that is a shortcoming on us, as opposed to them build whole systems that literally empower them at the expense or to the detriment of us.
Yep.
And then perpetuate that over centuries and generations and generations. And that's how we get where we are, where you have people who are born into whiteness, born as a male, who are literally, especially at least in our society, brought up to believe that them just existing as they are worth more than even the most accomplished Black woman, and
that they're superior. That they're superior. Just even going about it that way is already such a contradiction to how our nature is. Our nature is not to be we're better. Our nature is just to be and to see how we serve. But that's what happens with inferiority, is that you have to create supremacy. And it's almost like a double whammy with us too, in the power structures that have been created, man-made created, right? Think about if you are Black, you're more likely to want to be more communal. You have a need for community. Not that other ethnicities don't, but I feel like the African DNA in this Western society it butts heads because we are a lot more community based as a people, or female or whatever binary, non-binary, whatever. We're a village. We're about taking care of each other's kids. That's kind of when you go back far enough, not even that far. That's part of who Black people are. And then you're a woman. And so being feminine in any regard also means that you're more inclined to natural rhythms, taking your time, not wanting to be, following some schedule all the time. You kind of go off of what's the moon like today?
And it's still a schedule, but it's not some external man-made schedule. It's your luteal phase or your lunar cycle, or being in sync with nature.
With your body.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, if it was up to us, we could schedule things perfectly fine around those things. But because we have to try to fit that into this on Monday, Friday, Monday, this is like, it's like, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, and people, honestly, the people who follow and make those rules would probably be happier if they didn't either. But they don't even know that.
But they don't know that, think about that, or care about it. Exactly, because they are the beneficiaries of this system, and they will do whatever they have to perpetuate it. Yeah. And it's actually something that you were saying earlier that reminded me of a video I saw. So talking about like how us as Black people were like more naturally inclined to be communal, even all across the diaspora. Like we find each other everywhere and type shit. So it's actually two things I was thinking of. Excuse me. So the first thing is a video I saw recently where this person was like, he's like, I didn't realize, he's like, white people don't really have that many cousins, and even if they do, like, you don't really know. You don't hear them saying, yeah, I'm going over to hang out at my cousin's house. And so he was like, I had a friend, and they, like, I forget what it was, but they, like, were meeting a bunch of, like, their family at once. It was, like, a party maybe at their house. And it was like, yeah, this is my cousin, blah, blah, blah. And so at one point, the white friend came up and asked the kid, like, hey, yo, like, you got a lot of cousins. Like, how big is your family? He was like, well, like, most of them aren't, like, my actual cousins. Like, that's my mom's best friend's kids type shit. Or, like, that's a good friend of the family. But it's just like, yeah, like, how common is that for people to call somebody a cousin who is not even related to them, or that's, like, an aunt, or that's, like, X, Y, and Z.
I'm Auntie Mimi to Faye's kids. I might as well be her sister for real.
I used to call
just for another miss.
Titi Wanda. Like,
right, exactly.
It's crazy.
Even like Noah, that. Like his friends, the Black friends that he has, which ironically he only has like one set of Black friends for real.
We gotta diversify that group.
I know, but it's the best pickings though, because they, like I said, they are well to do. They're very giving Huxtable. They're very much giving Huxtable, very well organized. And very accepting and inviting, and like that's how come we're friends with them. And yeah, I mean, at this point, like they're like, your child is our child. So, like, what are we doing? and I'd be the same with their 3 kids. Like I'd be like, hey, I'm taking Noah somewhere. Y'all want to come? The boys are safe with me. Like it's just, and it feels good. Like I feel like that's what it should be. You shouldn't feel like untrusting or untrusted. Right. But it's just so. It's a shame how certain energies and structures and societal norms have really made that almost normal to feel untrusting of people. It's don't get me wrong, like you should definitely like vet people, give it time.
Of course.
Don't leave your kids with people by themselves right away. Shit like that. Like be smart. But after about a year or so, you shouldn't be there with certain people no more. You should have a group of people that you can feel completely like you can be a human being around.
Yeah, that's if community mindedness was at the forefront of like our cultural kind of like landscape. But we're in a society where individualism is hard pressed on us. The second thing that I was thinking about though was when I went to college. I did not go to a HBCU. I went to a school in the middle of Illinois, like smack dab in the middle of Illinois. And so we had a very small Black community, but almost every Black person knew each other, and it didn't matter what year you were in. At some point, we all went to the same party,
right?
Or like the Black Greek or the MPHC, the Black Greek organizations were had a presence on campus, so they will host like stuff and like. Yeah, I realized that, like, if you were Black at the school, you knew each other. Even if y'all didn't hang out, their face was familiar. You were familiar with who they were. And I would say, like, 99% of the time, because, again, you always have those, maybe it did come out to be 92%. Like a high 90% of the time. 90%. Anytime somebody Black pledged a sorority or fraternity, it was one of the MPHC sororities. Every now and again, you would see a Black person in one of those like Greek row sorority like houses, and I would look at them sideways like,
Right. Oh, so they wouldn't be a part of like deltas or like AKAs.
They would be like Sigma Chi or some shit. Like,
question mark. Even though I don't really care for sororities and fraternities either, but that could be a whole other topic, honestly.
Yeah, let's not bring that up here.
Let's not even start. No, I had a thought about you were saying something earlier. Oh my God. I hate when especially when we're recording.
Said, oh my God, baby, like what?
Oh, that's what it was. So when you were bringing up how like finding safe space for Black women, and specifically Black women, but even if you wanted to just say Black people, I guess in my mind, I think there should be pockets for all of it. It's like you should have a safe space you can go as a Black person, period. You encounter all genders. But like, you know, and then you have these spaces that are just for you and your girls or whatever. Even class could be interesting because like you can have a Black woman that you're encountering, but if y'all have completely different experiences because of class, that could be interesting too. But I was also thinking about how like the difference between like white supremacy groups and what we're talking about is that their goal is to oppress other people. It's not to be safe. We're trying to be safe from them. And they have the power structure in order to completely affect other people's lives. And so they're meeting with each other clandestinely to try to like obscure other people's happiness. Like that's not the
in the country clubs and shit.
Yeah, that's not the objective of why we're trying to create a space.
It's literally the exact opposite. Like they want to oppress people. We're trying to seek liberation, finding places where we can be free in who we genuinely are, because we live in a society that has literally been shaped and functions to suppress us and exploit us. And so us wanting to be exclusive, saying this is for us, by us, does not give the same as whites only. You know what I mean? And like and that's a common, it goes back to how like they project, right? So because their white power or white pride is a dog whistle for white supremacy and subjugation of others.
Right.
They assume that when anybody else exudes pride, we say Black pride, they're like, oh, so you think you're better than white people. It's
no,
like,
it is a projection. You're right. It is a projection.
Exactly. Like, no, we're not saying we think we're better. We're proud of who we are, because who we are is not defined by who someone else isn't. Because, like, if you think about it, that's what whiteness really is. It's like, it's defined by, like, we are not like those savages. We are not like those people. Like, they are literally, like, their identity is, like, upheld by their appearance of exclusivity, of defining themselves in contrast to other people. Exactly. Whereas we have a richness, we have a fullness that is innate to us, that no matter what they have done to us, they separated us, mixed us up. What did we do? And forced their language on us. What did we do? We created a new language within that language, African American vernacular English.
Very true.
that persists to this day. And then they turn around and try to steal it and co-opt it and call it Gen Z.
Yeah, first it's ghetto, but then they get mad because it's fire.
Exactly. I'm just saying, like, it's the same shit, different toilet.
No, that makes so much sense. Like, when you are innately just like powerful and authentic and confident in who you are, there literally is no need to bring anyone else down, because your essence is enough. And it's clear it is like anyone who subscribes to that kind of behavior is part of white supremacy, even if they are Black. Like, if you can't even see enough that you like see that how powerful you are as a Black person, or as a woman, or as both, and you're still subscribing to this stuff and perpetuating it, like, that's even sadder. Like, you're not able to see how they have to objectify you and suppress you in order to feel better about themselves, and you're agreeing with that.
And it's so insidious how that behavior perpetuates itself. Like, you know what it just made me think of? This is part of the reason why there are so many, like, Black women that I've encountered, especially in, like, the workplace, that I actually can't fuck with, because their first like litmus test to like try to feel you out is to talk shit about somebody. And that to me is like an instant red flag. It's a telltale sign that you're one of them. You're one of them that like has internalized this need to like compare, and like you uphold hierarchy. This is something that you've internalized, and I already know where I'm starting off with you. You're not somebody I don't want to talk to, because I could already tell how most of our conversations are going to go. You're going to ask what I was doing, hoping that I share, and you're not going to share much about yourself, or you'll overshare so that I feel like we're close.
But it's not really any information that's important for
exactly, real. Right, exactly. Yeah. And then you'll try to bring somebody up and ask if I know about something that happened, to see if I'll dig in deeper, or if I already know, to see how close my ear is to the ground. And then what happens, at least in my regard, is I don't know what's going on. I don't feed into it. So now you're looking confused, and you're going to continue to try to probe me and look at me and see if you can get me to fall off my high horse of being too good to talk shit about people. That has been the script that has played out several times for me, and I'm quite sure I'm not the only one who that has been affected that way by like women, especially other Black women in the workplace in particular. All right, we had to take a quick little break, but in a nutshell, I was just really running down. Like, I've been a victim of the pattern of behavior so many times that I just like have seen it, and it makes it easy for me to like see. And you know what's really fucked up? Most of the time, it's like it's always like Black women in a professional setting. Cause like usually like when we went to Afro punk, or like, you know, if I'm doing like, or, you know, one of the few good things that used to come about with those, you know, networking events that this nigga used to do all around Philly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the vibes would be there, like with your folk, you know. But I feel like it's something about us. Maybe it's being introduced to capitalism or whatever. Who knows? But I always, at least personally, experience a lot of cattiness and competitiveness in professional settings from other Black women. And it's really sad, because like we should be building each other up. But I saw firsthand that a lot of the times the Black women who do network in those kinds of environments are doing it still through the framework of a hierarchy. So they're doing it so that they can meet somebody else who's a Black person who happens to be a little bit higher than them. And I'll give you an example. My last corporate job, I was somebody who moved pretty quickly and frequently. So I moved into this one position that I didn't realize until after the fact was literally a position meant to get you seen, and was basically like a nothing position that had like no real job. And so because I was in that position, everybody assumed I knew why I was in that position, and then I took it for what it was. And so I got invited because the company was doing all of these, they're called ERGs, Employee Resource Groups, which are a bunch of DEI measures or whatever. So you had like the group for LGBTQIA plus people and allies, and then you had the group for Black and Latino employees, and then you know, you had the women's group, and you know, shit like that, right? And so I was asked to be the social events chair for the Black and Latino employee resource group. And I was like, "Ooh, cool! That would be great." Like, you know, I talked to them, you know, asked them about what it entailed and blah blah blah, and what the goals were. And I was like really aligned with it. I was like, "Yeah, let's do this. Let's use the immense resources of this company to try to like, you know, further some things, right?" So I go to I don't remember if she was the president or the vice president of the group, but I like pitch this like idea because the company it moved its headquarters to Camden, our hometown. Part of the reason why it moved to Camden was because, like, at one point Camden was offering like big tax incentives for companies to move there so that they could like help rebuild it or whatnot. And so, like, you guys are the beneficiary of being in a prime location. Like, they're close to public transportation. They are right across the bridge from, from Philly. So the commute is great.
Right.
They should
you can get people from Philly coming there to work. You can get people from Trenton, because even that river line.
The river line, exactly. So it's a lot of benefits to that company. So I'm saying, like, why don't you go ahead and turn around and find some ways to be be more of a presence in the community as well. And this is some way that we can do that. And that's when I realized that it was like, oh, you're getting a little too big for your britches. Like, we could do this, yeah, but like, do we really need to? And that's when I started to realize that a lot of these people are part of this employee resource group and a part of the board for the ERG because it looks good, not because they genuinely
care about the mission at all.
Exactly.
Right.
Meanwhile, and this is the same reason why I took that position, was because it was presented a certain way. I thought they were being literal, as opposed to trying to paint a picture that I was supposed to somehow read through magically to see that that's not what they really meant. And so I bring that up as an example to say, like, there was primarily Black women on the board of that ERG. That's what I really saw. I was like, oh, like, y'all don't really have my back. Like, y'all wanted to use me for what you saw my ability was, and also know that I'm a hard worker. But y'all are in this just to put on the title on your resume that, oh, I'm the community chair for blah, 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 as well as having this position. And I'm just like, well, I wanted to do something good with it, the same way I felt about when I came up with that whole presentation to save, like, literally tens of millions of dollars a year, and it went nowhere because she's trying to do too much. Like, actually, no, I'm trying to save us money because I like getting a nice bonus check every year, as I'm sure you too. And we also want our customers to be happy and but they weren't in it for the same reason that I was, and that clash made it like not possible. But anyway, I'm getting off
topic. It's so sad. No, but you're right. Like a lot of the unsafe, people in our group are the ones that are subscribing to that's how they see the world for some. And it's like, it's hard to say if, man, how to put this, because I have encountered similar Black women where I'm like, you might be the exception to the rule. Like, all of that I said earlier, over communal and we're about rhythm and time. I'm like, either y'all are the exception to the rule and y'all are just made to cater to this patriarchal white supremacist structure, or you're really just in denial. And the problem is more so that they it's not that they aren't that way, but their value system is fucked up. They've been conditioned, and because back to where we were talking about 4 agreements. We all make agreements. And a lot of time cognitive dissonance, and you might have brought this up in the last one, cognitive dissonance prevents people from being able to shift based on new information. Because we're so married to our agreements. And we'll try to fit information that we're given. We'll try to make it fit into the narrative that we've already said is all there could be. This is the only way it could be. Everything else has to I have to restructure it. And this is where you get narcissism to some extent, because they look at people, they've already formulated what is, right? Because they don't have a sense of self. And so they formulated what reality is, what the world is, what is acceptable based on what they've observed, right? And if what you're observing is pretty much coming, if what you're observing is that's being rewarded, because that's their thing too, that nature, what you're observing that's being rewarded is a certain way, then that's what you're going to try to perpetuate and then cut down if anyone goes against that. So that's how you get Black people, women, people in the LGBTQ community, even
with this internalizing this stuff. Yeah,
it seems like a self-loathing, because instead of them valuing their innate nature, they've been conditioned to value the structure. And so they start doing things against their best interest, and they start living if you really take a step back and look at those people, you can be like, you're contradicting yourself. You're Afrocentric on one day, or in one situation, you're trying to promote Blackness, when it seems convenient and beneficial. But when you break it down, it's like you're doing all types of things to stand in the way of true, authentic expression of Blackhood and womanhood.
Absolutely. In those situations, I like to say, and I don't know if anybody else has said this. This is something I always just kind of said in my head. It's like we're wearing the same uniform, but we're not playing for the same team, and this is why we vet. And you have to figure out okay, what are your politics? Because you being a Black woman, you would believe that inherently we have a lot of these things in common, but how people have been conditioned has a lot to do with their outlook and the things that they believe, their agreements and things that they've learned to value, their value systems.
Yes.
And again, value systems, beliefs, identities are actually kind of synonymous with agreements. These are the things that you
absolutely
are true.
Yep. I am this. This is what people accept. This is, acceptable and all that kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then when you're actually someone who's like, no, I know who I am, and I'm advocating for a certain thing that actually is beneficial and has nothing to do with me. I don't care if I get credit. I don't care if I have a title in it. I would like to get paid at least so that I'm not starving. So at the minimum, pay me something decent, something respectable for putting in the work. But then they'll try to demonize people for that. Meanwhile, they're fucking greedy as fuck, using their money for materialistic things, but not even doing anything. And they'll demonize you for actually putting in the work and wanting at least monetary, compensation for it. They'll try to project their shit onto you. But they see certain people actually doing the work not for actual altruistic, benevolent reasons, and just wanting to have a decent living because of it, like acceptable living. And they're like, well, they're doing, they look at you and think you're in the meeting presenting something because you want this credit, because it's because of how they think. They're like, this person can't really care. I'm like, I personally have sensed that in certain spaces that wow, I feel like people think that I'm not authentically wanting this to happen, not because it's about me. Like I really believe in this thing.
That is one of the most frustrating experiences, because I know exactly what you're talking about, because I had that exact thing happen to me, and that was actually the biggest eye opener, because the girl's reaction to me showing her this presentation that was an amalgamation of weeks of work that I took upon myself to create to solve a huge problem in this company. Her reaction was, wow, this is really going to get you seen. And I could tell that she was not being facetious. She genuinely was impressed with what I did and thought this was something amazing. And she was like, this is really going to get you seen. And that reaction to me was so befuddling, and it made me start to go back and think and look at everything through a different lens and understand, wow, her first thought to me doing this great thing that is, and I think okay, so I'm quite sure it actually wasn't her first thought, because her first thought was probably, this is great. This is going to save the company money. But then that got filtered through. She put a lot of effort into this, and it's also really good. She must really want to be seen. She wants to make her mark. She wants to make it. And it's and that's how it's crazy to think that's how people like you and I exist in this world, where we're doing things from an internal sense of drive. of like, we have a mission. We want to do what is right, not because it looks right, but because it is right. And then there are so many other people, and this is why I see a lot of the times this dynamic of the mixture of like very empathetic, kind of like people pleasing, usually like ADHD, ADHD, traumatized kind of people, being in environments where they're working with narcissistic, very like strategic, like I'm talking about like clinically narcissistic.
Yeah, like, NPD, yeah.
Not just our, and in addition to our normal base level of like narcissism in our society, while they end up in the same kind of environments a lot of the times, and why they thrive for different reasons in those kind of environments. So people like, you know, us, we're going in, and usually we're going to be in something that is in some kind of service, whether it's customer service, hospitality, teaching, support staff, something like that, because we are drawn to be helpers, whether it's healers, whether it's enlightening others, whether it's something like that. Like, that's usually what we're typically drawn to work like that, right? Especially if you're highly empathetic, and you just care about like people, right? But that also attracts narcissistic kind of people, because that kind of environment is very easy to mirror that altruism. And working usually in those kinds of professions either gives you respect, or it's easy work to find, because there's almost always something where you can like serve other people and build in those environments, right?
And there's usually high turnaround with those kind of jobs, because they either pay very little, they're high stress, so like you'll always find a rotation to fill in.
Right, exactly. So the reason I bring all that up to say is just like, I feel like we get I don't know if it's an indoctrination, or like just it because of the perpetuation in a the magnetized perpetuation of this like cultural wide standard that happens in those kinds of environments, where I feel like those who are further from the goal, so Black women, some of us just like fold under that pressure, and they're like, you know what, I need to stick with the system, because the closest the closer I can get, the, you know, my proximity to X, Y, and Z is gonna, and then they expect, because again, we talk about this all the time, the projection of your internal life on other people, that other Black women, because most of us are in those environments, go against our nature of being communal, or having that external desire infect the nature of being communal.
Right.
We'll still form cliques, but a lot of times
they'll be toxic.
Toxic, exactly. So it's like, I just think, there's not enough of us in those spaces who last to be able to impact and make a change, because of the toxicity and structure. And the higher up you go, the worse of a person you are to be able to get to those points.
Absolutely.
I found that out firsthand.
I think we both have had similar experiences. I mean, and I've only ever worked in arts based environments, maybe retail, but outside of retail, all my major career paths have been arts based. Yeah, and it's the same thing when you get into leadership anywhere, even in those kind of environments that are supposed to be creative and, you know, a little more like is it right brained or left brained? But anytime you have like a lot, I forget too, but that creative part of your brain, the more artsy fartsy part of your brain, supposedly.
I think it's right.
You know, like anytime you get into a leadership position in those spaces, you're going to encounter the same bullshit. It's just like, we forget why we're here. Even with the gay community, it's like, I have found that even being in the queer community does not make them an ally either.
People betray themselves all the time. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot of times, sometimes there's like a compounding of like identities that like makes it difficult. And so like I've seen some of the most marginalized people will be the worst. Like again, like if I see a queer Black disabled woman supporting
That's wild. That's wild.
I would want to know her life story.
We need to understand.
I need to know how deep the trauma goes.
This is crazy,
because that could be the only thing that like would describe it. Because like the further marginalized, the further like the more intersections you sit at, that you cross to get to the destination of who you are. Like it's basically the further away from center, quote unquote, you are. Like the more empathy you should have.
But to your point, that might be the one thing that they have to make them feel like they're not some outcast, though. So it's like if you are all of those marginalized things, like it almost makes sense that they would be in some heavy support of this trash, because the trash is being rewarded. The trash is the one thing that makes them acceptable to the world. You know what I mean? And maybe the coping mechanism. You know what I mean?
You're right. But again, that would make me want to examine how deep the trauma goes.
Because if we're honest, if they're like, they may be black, they may be gay, they may be a woman, but that disability is hard for a lot of people in all of those other three sectors to relate to. We might be empathetic, we might be like compassionate, and we might even be accommodating. But at the end of the day, even if you're gay, a woman, and black, or there still will be something that makes you unrelatable to them.
Yeah,
or them unrelatable to you. Yeah,
and that's why I brought up that example. That's basically the point. It's like, so you are part of like the most marginalized group. Like, there's nobody, if you think about in the totem pole of like society, that could be lower than which is saying something, because that's me. Adding on fat too, I guess, make the person fat. Like I sit at the bottom of the societal totem pole. You know, like, so actually, yeah, that's why it's like from first hand point of view, trying to figure it out. Me as an empathetic person, I can get there intellectually how that happens, but I just couldn't empathize with it, because it's like, how could you? There's not that much needing validation in the world for me to uphold and support everything that would gladly see me and people like me eradicated from this earth. Right. Not an exaggeration.
No, you're not lying. You're not lying at all.
And this, again, this comes right back to the main point that we're talking about, that there aren't any real safe spaces for Black women. The answer is for us to, of all kinds. The answer is for us to make that, but in doing that, we have to face some of the hard truths that everybody can't get in, even some of our own kinfolk. And it's like, it's not like this cut and dry, like, oh, you can never this, that, and the other. But it's like, some people are so far gone. Some people can maybe attend a garden party or two until they're ready to get inside for the main event.
I mean, we seen how the homie in Chicago got murdered because of somebody on the inside. That movie that Lakeith Stanfield played the traitor. And Daniel Kaluuya played the main guy that got killed. What's his name? He was in a Black Panther, huh?
I didn't see that. Oh, is it based off of? You talking about Fred Hampton?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was like a fictional thing.
No. He it's the movie. I forget what that movie is called, but yeah, it's the story about Fred Hampton and how like the informant was a Black guy.
Yeah, because sometimes it be some of your own people, and why? It's usually them trying to get some kind of them being selfish. Because why else would they turn them in? Right. It's for them to get some kind of personal gain out of it. Because Fred and the Panthers were community minded. What they did was for the upliftment and the betterment of the community.
They were not malicious in any way.
Exactly the way that they're portrayed. Exactly. Exactly. And again, that shit it's so funny, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but that's a perfect example of how like narratives get flipped based off skin color, because I don't remember them calling them niggas that occupied the federal building up in like Washington or Oregon a couple years ago, because they were protesting something. I don't remember calling them militia, and I think they called themselves a militia, but let me not speak on shit I don't all the way know about. But like, yeah, I just yeah, we can talk. This will branch into a bunch of different
it
topics.
really could.
So,
I think we covered it pretty well, though.
Yeah, I would just say some steps that we can take as Black women and as a community as a whole to create safe spaces we need is to commit firstly to individual healing. Because I feel like the more we do our individual healing, the more we will genuinely be drawn to others who are also here to fulfill our specific, whatever our specific contribution is to the collective, right?
Yeah.
The more you sit in your authenticity, the closer you get to you are authentically, the closer you are to, and this is wording from one of my favorite books that we talked about before, The Alchemist, fulfilling your personal legend. I like the way it's worded there. So yeah, so I think that's the first step, is that we commit to actual healing. And what I mean by that is not surface level, not anything that makes you externalize your power in any way. And we can go into that at some other time about like what I mean by that, because that's a whole other topic.
That is, bro.
But yeah, I think that's the first and biggest step, is like committing to personal healing so that you can start to walk in your authenticity and attract others who are also, you know, going to help fulfill that same kind of role in the collective.
Because if people are honest, and this is the type of thing I try to convey to any people, people that are around me, like your body can tell when it's authentic. If we're really honest with ourselves, like the times where I've encountered narcissism, I'm like, if I really go back and look, I'm like, oh, the signs were there. You know what I mean? But I didn't trust I didn't trust what I was seeing with my eyes, and more importantly, I didn't trust what I was feeling in my body. And a lot of times, to your point, when you do like really deep shadow work, you give yourself at least a year. I almost feel like it should be longer, depending on how, because there's one person I talk to, especially when they talk about like once your eyes have been unveiled to narcissism. Specifically, if you were in a like intimate relationship with somebody, she'd be like, "Listen, if you was with that person for 5 years, it need to be 5 years before you fuck anybody, like kiss anybody, like." And I'm like, "Damn, that's real though." Like I get it, because you get so desensitized to the standard that they set, that you really have to give it just as much time. And I can honestly say, if I'm honest, I was married a certain number of years. It was literally that number of years before I finally was like, not that I wasn't aware, but it was out of my body. Because the awareness happened pretty early. That's why I ended up filing, even though they left. It took me like a year and a half to get to the point where I was like, fuck these threats, nigga, I'm just gonna do it. So, but it was another like 5.5 years before I was at the place where like I could feel it from other people. I can sense it, and it took a lot less time to pick up on things,
right,
than it did before.
Right.
And then I was just like already walking, like by the time those 6 to 7 years of separation happened, I was already like, that was also when I was like more confident in who I was as a person in general, where, you know what I mean? Like where I feel like I was also attracting certain things, but because of that, but it also, I was also much more stronger, where I could tell is at the same time. So it was kind of a double-edged sword, But yeah, it's like when you do the healing for yourself and take the actual time to do it. Now, granted, like, I didn't go 7 years celibate by any means. I went half of it though. I went a good amount of that without anything. That says a lot. So I mean, without getting on too much of a tangent, I'm pretty much agreeing and giving another example of how that can look. That like your healing process may not be this like linear thing. Like it may be like, oh, I'm celibate. I'm really taking it, because I did take like almost 2 years between before dealing with more fuck niggas. But like, but it wasn't a relationship. Like I didn't jump into a situationship. It was a situationship, and it just meant physical needs for the most part. But it meant some emotional needs too. It meant some like tactile, sensual things that I probably need as a person as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm at the point now, I'm like 3+ years almost without anything. So it's like, and I'm not even, I think about it, but not really. But with
not
that
said, to go like, off with a tangent.
I know not to go off, but with that said, it wasn't like, I have not been in a relationship at all. And I know people who get into full blown, this is my man, and I'm like, you've been apart from this person 6 months, bro. Like, I'm so like, I think it's interesting. I don't want to judge anyone, but I think it's interesting.
And I'm actually gonna stop you there, because I feel like that can go into a whole different conversation about like codependency and
oh my god,
validation. So for right now, I would say,
but healing is important. Healing will make you recognize other healed people. Right. That's what it will do.
Because we're not here to try to solve this problem all today. But I do think that since we've like talked about why this is a thing, and like, because I don't know if even like some people have even thought about it. But hopefully maybe somebody hears this and be like, oh shit, like you right. Like all these bitches at my job are negative. They all gossip queens. And I do it because it's part of the culture, but really,
I really like when I do it, right? Like listen to your gut.
Start to go on that healing journey for yourself. And even if maybe at work you're a little ostracized, like if in your real life, because if you're like me, you're like a lot of people, work is there to
pay your
barely
bills,
give you the money to pay your bills, right? Like they should be doing it. Then you cultivate like those communities and that connection with other Black women outside of it, outside of work, hopefully. But that's one of the other things too, is like a lot of us don't have a lot of time outside of work to cultivate relationships with each other. So I'm going to end it by asking a rhetorical question, or maybe this is something that you guys can jump into the comments and answer for us. Do you think that is also part of the reason why a lot of Black women who happen to be in kind of traditional working environments, or most work environments, I would say, lean toward being very gossipy, very cliquey? Is it because of internalized white supremacy? Is it because they're all hanging around each other, so it's kind of like groupthink and monkey see, monkey do? Is it
scarcity mindset?
Scarcity mindset, exactly, where you think you got to be in competition with people because it's like either genuinely not enough opportunities, or they make you guys feel like it's not enough opportunities. Like just why do you think we do that when we know that we work better as a community and that we are more naturally community minded? So hop in the comments, let us know what you guys think about that. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be back with this week's hating and loving, which I think is going to be hilarious.
Yes.
We are back. And I'm going to kick off this week's hating and loving. And I'm going to get vulnerable with you guys.
Wait, oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. And this is something that I struggle with, that I hate, that I love. I hate that I love basic bitch shit.
That's why I sent you the Bo Bourbon thing. That was why I sent you that, okay? Because, okay, pause for the call. So I told sis here not to remind me what her hate the love was, right? Because I was like, oh, let me just respond. And you should have told me. Because now I'm about to cuss you out for not looking at it.
No,
if anybody
I didn't need to be influenced by someone else's take on this.
Listen, all I gotta say is if anybody knows Bo Burnham, the comedian, white guy, tall, slinky, plays
we
music.
Know who Bo Burnham is.
Some people don't, because I honestly didn't really know who he was until one of my coworkers introduced me to him, and I've been obsessed since like April. But yeah, girl, watch that when I see. But continue.
I will. But
okay,
I didn't
sorry.
want to impact my my confession of a very touching subject. Okay. So anyway, getting very vulnerable with you guys, especially since we're in August. We're actually already creeping toward mid-August, so it'll be September before you know it. And with that comes pumpkin spice lattes and Uggs and comfort sweatsuits and floppy hats, beanies and hoodies and gloves and I like all that shit. In fact, I love all of that shit. I literally, my uniform when I travel, it used to be a hoodie, leggings, and Uggs. Now it's a comfort sweatsuit and Uggs.
And what's a comfort sweatsuit exactly?
A comfort sweatsuit. Oh yeah, we've talked about this briefly, but it's like this slightly weighted, very soft, very comfortable fabric, and they make like oversized sweatsuits, sweatshirts, and matching pants. They have shorts, t-shirts, oversized t-shirts. They have a whole bunch of stuff. And actually, speaking of comfort, I have a promo code that I'm going to link in the description for you guys who want to, get 10% off. Comfort says. It's funny because after we recorded last week, which is I think the first time I talked about comfort on the show.
Oh yeah.
In regards to how I wore my comfort sweatsuit and got like the best sleep on the plane I've ever gotten. I got like an email from them talking about something. Would you like to be an ambassador? I was like, yeah.
Which that would be curious to know how somebody even heard that.
Well, I'm already on their mailing list because I shop with them. Like I own some comfort sets. Like I own their original like travel essential set, which is the one I wore to Mexico. And then I also have like I think it's called the Cloud Zip, like in forest green, like hoodie with the
was it just a coincidence that they happened to hit you up with a promo code the day after you mentioned them in a podcast?
I don't know. Maybe it's
that's what I'm wondering.
In my favor, but I genuinely fucks with comfort, and so now I have a promo code, and so y'all can try it out, and it'll be really cute. But I say all that to say, like if you go on Instagram or TikTok or any social media platform, and you look up pumpkin spice latte, Ugg sweatsuit, Ugg boots or Ugg slides, so they have both. Comfort sweatsuits. You're gonna see a bunch of like white bitches, usually like stereotypically pretty, a lot of Alex Earl type. And I'm just like, cool. But some of us who aren't basic bitches actually like basic bitch stuff, and it makes me feel some kind of way sometimes. Because I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, yes, autumn. I think we talked about recently, yes, how I got like hoodwinked into believing that summer was my favorite season, when really, as an adult, I realized autumn is. And this is part of the reason why autumn is my favorite season. You have pumpkin every fucking thing. You have apple caramel. You have like fucking
Sagittariuses.
You have like hayride. You have apple pies.
You have crisp, cool, almost better than spring perfect air, really.
Yeah, you can layer. You can wear beanies and leggings with boots and sweaters and scarves.
Because spring can be such a weird time because there's allergies with spring. Like, what do you really associate food-wise with spring even? Like, even whatever you would associate with food really is more like probably summer, if we're honest. Like, yeah. And then like then you can't layer no more. Like spring is just hot enough where you're like, fuck.
You'll layer the reverse way. Like you'll start the I guess it'll be the same way, I guess. Yeah, you'll start the day with like a little cardigan, and then by the middle of the day you need to take that shit off.
You just always need a jacket. That's the thing. Like you always need a jacket for spring, but you can't. But it's like you don't want a jacket with a hoodie and like or with a sweater or vest or like it gotta be like just a jacket. Yeah. Like that's it. Like it's just a jacket over like this basic ass summer dress and like maybe a sneaker, like a low top sneaker because I want my ankles out because it's getting warm. It's just spring is weird. Like spring is weird, but in the reverse way that like fall is weird. Fall is weird in a conducive way. Like
right.
You know, like
it could be warm, but most of the time it's cool. So you could it's really wear a crispy, sweater,
and you get to be more weirdo layers, with those layers.
Exactly, but because you're wearing layers, if you have a fuck around day that it gets a little too warm, you're like, okay, you know, I can take this off, and
you don't gotta shave as much.
Yeah, I know you're ongoing crusade against body hair.
It's a better time for hats. Like if you're if you're a hat bitch, fall, winter is actually way better for hats than spring and summer. Really.
Anybody who knows me knows that I used to be a hat bitch. I am still a hat bitch actually, but I have literally a whole huge bin full of hats. That my hat game is strong. Actually, I need to bring that back. I guess I haven't in a while just because. I don't know. But anyway, I hate to love basic bitch shit because it's labeled basic bitch shit. But I'm never ashamed to partake in it. It's just that I hate the stigma that like often gets attached to it. Because it's like, if I go and I order a pumpkin spice latte, immediately somebody's gonna like have an assumption. And again, it doesn't deter me because I don't care what other people think. It's the very limited information they have about me. Most of the time, you don't know like what's going on. But I don't know. I guess it's just that I don't know. I hate that it has that stigma because it's just great, and more people than those who would like to admit it because of that stigma actually like this shit. Because
pumpkin spice is amazing.
If it was so corny or if it was so basic, it wouldn't be something that not only do these companies like faithfully bring back every year, but each year they seemingly bring it back sooner and sooner.
They do.
And it seems like
it's about to be out next week, probably.
Probably, exactly. And it seems like more and more things get that pumpkin spice apple caramel treatment around this time. It's like you can't escape it. It's every fucking where. To the point that like, you know, when we all started like boycotting Starbucks and stuff like that, and I was getting more exposure to local cafes and stuff like that. I was like, it just happened to be around like October, November time. And I was like, man, like I found some spots that was close to me that had some really good fucking pumpkin spice lattes. I didn't feel like I was left out. I was like, it got down to the small independent cafes are making that shit. Yeah. So it clearly has to be popular enough flavor profile that it's made its way there, and it's not just girls who go to Starbucks to get pumpkin spice latte.
Well, I think that's less of a corporate thing and just it's a sign of nature that is what's in season at the time, you know. And so it's almost like we're only reflecting back to ourselves how much we're connected to the earth and nature and shit like that.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that because that reminded me of a meme, and I swear I wish I will look for it. I hope I have it somewhere. But it was so perfect. It was like girls who like pumpkin spice lattes are actually just witches because, and then they broke down like what pumpkin, what cinnamon, what nutmeg, what like cardamom, and all those things. They were like, it's basically like a protection spell that you're like sipping every day. And I was like, yeah,
that adds up. That adds up. And it's probably, all of those things are probably designed or have some properties in them that protect you from things during that season. You know, probably immunity builders or something like that, or you know, like it's yeah. So to me, what I was going to say to help you feel better about it is I bet you can find the non-basic bitch aspect of you enjoying this that would help you, like, because at the end of the day, it's like how they did jeans. You know, like jeans are the American. It's American to wear blue jeans. They're all, you know, you get these skinny white bitches in it, right? And so you would think denim is just a basic white bitch thing for a while. It's a basic American thing, right? And then you go back and find out they was making slaves wear that, and we put indigo in it because that was part of our heritage, and so denim is ours too. So I bet you pumpkin spice is ours in some way.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna research pumpkin spice.
All the basic bitch shit, even the cozy and the all that knee and weight. Like, I bet you go back further enough, they always try to make it seem like they thought of something, but it's like, this has been a principle. Like, if we're as old as we're saying we are, even if it's just the 2,000 years, even though most people believe we've been around longer than that, you don't think people figured that out?
Right. Yeah, there's nothing new under the sun.
It's nothing new. We just haven't been as good at recording things until recently. Now that things can be recorded and archived in an actual, like, real time, nobody has to, like, you know, create a whole major in college just to figure out how to read shit people wrote thousands of years ago. I mean, ain't that what archaeology really is at the end of the day, or whatever the fuck? Historians. Historians are just the people charged. They went to school to understand shit that was not documented in a way we can do now. Right. Now, those same people are going to have to, they're going to have to learn how to properly document this format. All the podcasts, that's what they're going to be ciphering through and be our historians in 100 years.
In a lot of ways, I wish I could see that. I said that before. I want to know how this time in history will be wrote about, but not to veer too much off into topic because this is light and fluffy. This is light and fluffy. Yeah, no, I think that is my personal homework. I'm going to do a little bit of research into pumpkin spice.
Bring that back for the next pod.
Yeah, be like,
bring that back.
This is what I found out about actually
all your basic bitch enjoyments. Just
because I mean, yeah. I'll save it for then.
Yeah.
Go ahead, big sister. What are you hating to love or loving to hate?
I think I also have a hating to love more so, right? I would say I think it's more of a hating to love, but I still love it. But I will say that lately I have been, I don't know if it's questioning, but less enthusiastic or relying on the whole astrology belief system. Or I guess you know what it is? I think so astrology and like tarot were really a big element in my life back when the pandemic kind of first happened, because, you know, it was the first time I was living on my own after I guess my divorce had been finalized by that point too. So it's the first time I was actually living on my own since the separation / divorce, because up to that point, I always either had roommates staying with me, or I was like living with a couple that we knew from church at the time for like almost a year. And so this was the first time I was like actually, and I mean, honestly, this is the first time I actually lived on my own, period, when this happened too. So I moved out on my own in like the summer of 2019. And then like less than a year later, we're in quarantine. So like, and I have this job, I'm still doing my art stuff, but I have like a retail job that doesn't pay much, but it pays the rent I could afford. and whatever other utilities I had. I don't think I had a car at that point yet either. So I was also navigating a pandemic without a car, because for me to get places, I had to either be on public transit or Ubering or something like that. So that was, it's actually, what's interesting is that I think I got it before we knew what it was, before COVID was a thing. Like I remember being super duper, like super duper sick February of 2020. Then I had a whole performance that you came to. You traveled in early March.
Yeah.
It might have been, what, a week later when we found out this shit? It was crazy. And
I remember at the airport looking at some people who had masks on and being like, the fuck is this? I mean, from Atlanta, I was like, some people who I guess was up on the news more than I was, because, like, you know, the lockdown didn't happen until, like, actually, I think it was like 3 or 4 days after I got back.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I was, I mean, I hate to say it, but I was glad I was able to perform, because I had been preparing that for like a year, that solo. And that was, and I feel like that performance was kind of like a big transition for me within the community. Even it really kind of changed the trajectory for me here. But yeah, so the pandemic happens, and then I'm kind of like, I'm trying to figure things out. It's just like everything is so weird right now. My personal life is fucking crazy, and then like the world is like, I don't never lived through a pandemic. What the fuck? It's been 100 years since that had happened. So tarot and astrology was like what I kind of leaned on to like better understand myself, and do what I've considered is actual self-love. Like, we've conflated like pampering yourself with self-love, and like that's not what that means.
Right. It's literally pampering, and
that's all it is. And that's part of self-love.
Self-care.
Sure.
Self-care is a part of self-love, but it's not exactly the same.
It's not the love, because like there could be circumstances that prevent you from doing that type of shit. Just life circumstances. Self-love carries itself through no matter whatever circumstance you're in, right? And that's how you know that it's an inner work, it's a deeper work than that. And so I was doing a lot of that, and astrology was very helpful, because like Astrology Cafe is what I would reference a lot, because you put in especially if you know your time of birth. I mean, it's not necessary, but you just get a deeper, you can still learn a lot from those like 12 main ones, like just your planets. But if you understand astrology, there's like houses, and you need to know the exact time you were born for that. But those give you even, and I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like you don't need those. I think there was maybe like 2 days out of like years of understanding my astrology that I spent studying my houses, and it was insightful. But at the end of the day, I didn't really need to lean on it outside of maybe my rising sign. That's a little bit, that gave me a little bit of insight as to like why because I'm a Capricorn rising, and so I'm a Sag sun. So like, I don't know, like knowing your moon, your sun, and your rising are really nice, because you can kind of see how you're like, oh, I relate to my sun sign, which is what horoscopes are usually based on, just like your actual birth date, what your sun is or whatever. But it doesn't, I never could fully relate to the whole like non-committal thing about Sagittarius. I'm like, bitch, I'm so committal and scared. I don't even understand why I be staying in shit sometimes. It takes a lot for me to budge out of something. But you said
Capricorn is your rising sign though, right?
Yeah.
So you just kind of like answer your same question. Isn't your rising sign supposed to embody like what you're supposed to be striving toward expressing?
I think so. Yeah.
So if you just said that you are the opposite, that means that maybe you need to do some things to help you align more with your rising sign.
But that's what I think I've been doing, and like dealing with certain personality types a lot has I feel like that could be part of why I keep encountering it, because they force me to have to be structured and organized and more like business minded, like a cat, and almost kind of cold. How they're kind of stereotypical typically described as like can be cold and kind of like just about getting things done.
Matter of fact.
Very matter of fact. So like I realize that like there's certain circumstances that I constantly find myself in that is catering to that kind of energy, and like very like boss bitch energy, just very like, because I will say Capricorn, like Capricorns are very like Blue Ivy. Y'all was talking about me? Watch me come and slay your fucking ass.
I actually am the manager. Thanks. Thanks. I'm glad you noticed.
And Caps are like, they cold in the best way though. Like Caps can be cold, but only when you really deserve it. You know, if they are even halfway a healthy person. You know, at least the ones that I know. The ones that I know, the Capricorns that I know and that I love, I fucks with them. And like, you know, so I don't know. So I think I'm more of a grounded fire sign because I have a lot of earth in my chart, or in my major placements. So there was a lot that I was learning about myself during that time through astrology, and then eventually during tarot. Like I got someone gifted me tarot cards, and tarot and astrology are like kind of heavily connected. And so that was just, and then I was into like this other little group I would go to every Wednesday night that was led by this kind of like metaphysical, like this guy that was into metaphysical shit, spirituality, but it wasn't cultish at all. Like I'll say that I'm glad it hasn't turned into a cult from what I can tell, even once I stopped going as frequently. He seems like a pretty legit guy.
As soon as you walked in, the first thing I was thinking, it was giving.
Nah, because when the moment he would have said anything about a church or like trying to make, I'd have been like, I'm good. Like I already knew my boundary with that. But no, he's been pretty consistently just like, oh, you know, he does his tarot readings. He's like a part of some. He makes his money how he makes his money, and he gets his donations through this. It's been like that. So, but it's been interesting because, like, then I'm also into psychology. Like, obviously, if you listen to this podcast, you know that we talk about a lot of psychology. And I realized that, like, when you add that component to it, oh my God, it's like such a fucking, like a shit soup when it comes to, like, human beings.
Because
Because like we're just like, when you start to study these various things, you do see that they're interconnected, but also they can completely negate the other sometimes. Like, I was talking to my friend Becca, who does tarot reading, and like she be giving me some readings that it's just like always on point. And she like has like whole journals like documenting her astrology year and like the energy she was like, she's very thorough. That girl she knows her shit. And but she's into psychology too, and philosophy, all those sorts of things. And I was even asking her, like, have you read anything that talks about like, can your astrology influence how you express your psychology? Or is it the reverse? Like, does your psychology inform how you express your astrology? Like, because I do believe that the astrology energy thing is true. I can, so many things align. Like a Pisces man, I consistently see the through lines with them.
So, big sister, I'm gonna stop you right there because I can already see us going down a rabbit hole.
I'm sorry, you're right.
And I already know why. Like so clearly. This may not be a hate to love. It could just be you love it and you haven't really admitted to yourself how much you love it. But I do agree, and I was like, you know what, we can have a conversation about that.
Let's put a pin in it. Let's put a pin in it. Well, let's put it this way. I hate to love it because of this exact thing. It's like it gets so complicated because it has yet to be disproven to me, even though it's like not a science at all. It's just like nothing about it's been validated aside from like it being across every culture for like millennium. But
that's validation in itself. So
it is.
When you say validation, and again, this could lead into another conversation, but what might be a catchphrase for this podcast at this point, everything leads back to white supremacy.
Title of the show.
Right. Everything leads back to But like the reason why you have this standard of what you believe is like proven is because of like Western standardized, like empirical, evidence based, blah blah blah. But what about the intuitiveness of indigenous cultures throughout millennia that have just known these things? Like I think about when I just recently went to freaking Chichen Itza and the geometry when the guy was like telling us about like how they built these structures, and it's like the like without modern like mathematical tools and things like that. And because these are the things. This is the wisdom of indigenous connection to source. So by you saying that, like, it may not have been proven other than the fact that I'm living proof that it's real.
Right.
It's kind of like saying like your lived experience isn't enough proof for you to at least believe it. So like maybe it's
right.
not. I think maybe we basically, and this happens a lot with us. We'll have like on the surface it looks different, but then when we talk about it, it's like we have a lot of parallel things going on. We both don't hate to love what we just talked about. We actually love it, but we're carrying some unaddressed like societal shame around it, and instead of just owning it and walking fully in it, it's like we have to justify why we love things that other people may demonize. And it's like, but why? Why do we have to do that? You don't have to. Fuck it. Astrology, like, look, you know me. I still got man tarot decks right here. We got the girls that are
that's hilarious.
It's still right here on deck. I love this. I love it so much. It's so cute. And I still got mad like tarot decks. It's funny. I was on like Snapchat sent me like the notification talking about you got like memories or whatever. And so I looked back and it was one from 5 years ago, so 2020, at the height of me being an astrology girly. And it's a picture of me, and I'll insert it here when I'm editing this episode of me in the middle of the workday at my kitchen table, which is where I used to do a lot of my work. And there's like a candle burning, crystals everywhere, and like a bunch of tarot and like oracle decks just like sitting there because I often was like dabbling too. But similarly, like when you're new to it, you're like, oh my god, you're into it. But after a while, you hopefully realize like it's a tool and it itself doesn't have any kind of power. We're not worshiping crystals, we're not worshiping astrology or tarot. But just like some people find like traditional talk therapy to be something that helps them connect. Because they maybe aren't able to be as self-reflective on their own. They need to get like probing questions from someone else to help them reflect. Then there's some people who are drawn to the more esoteric, the more spiritual, and they find healing by being able to be prompted by tarot. I've compared tarot to Rorschach tests before. It's like, this Rorschach card, it's an archetype that the therapist kind of understands.
Was that the ink blots? Is that what that is? The ink blots. Okay.
So that's what I've compared tarot to before, where it's like it helps to pull out things in your psyche. The cards themselves don't have power. I do feel like there are intangibles that we can't measure. So I do feel like the cards sometimes help to further that discussion. But ultimately, in a tarot reading, a lot of the times, it's not just the card. It's based off of this person's ability to read people and what they know about you already. And that's basically what a psychologist is doing with a blot test. Because it's an archetype. This blot is like a amorphous blob, or it's supposed to like evoke certain things in you, and depending on what it evokes in you, in combination with other archetypes, other blink blots, or other tarot cards, it'll paint a picture for how to proceed with the session. So to your point, I do feel like there's an overlap when it comes to psychology and spirituality and our psyche, because they all work to aim at the same plane, but they come from like different angles, and different parts of it resonate with different people, like I was saying. But there's some of us where it's like the intersection of it all is what interests us, and I think that's where you and I are.
Right. Yeah. Because I feel like there's truth in almost everything. There's some amount of truth in almost everything. It's like I feel like my job is to kind of find what that is in every arena, and just like create this recipe out of that.
You're looking for truth, like the universal truth. You're looking
right.
You're looking for
the through line.
The center of the Venn diagram of existence. And that's where we're on the same page, because I'm the same way. That's how I feel when I came out of like religion, because I was like, well, if you Venn diagram Buddhism and Hinduism and Christianity and Judaism and Islam and Taoism and all that, there are parts where they overlap. And I was like, and I've actually explained it that way before, where I was like, I want to find the center of that Venn diagram where they all overlap. But we can take it outside of spirituality and just broaden it to, like you were just saying, basically like the truths, these universal truths, things that apply to everybody. And there are like I think that and this will be another conversation, but that goes back to a lot of stuff we were talking about regarding like the 4 agreements and stuff like that. For now, we're gonna cut it here because we've been getting for a while. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting sleepy.
Yeah, I've been sleepy, but after our break, So. Yeah. But no, this was good, and we're trying to keep the hate and love light, y'all. So anybody who actually listens to this, just give us feedback. I feel like it never stays light, but we're
That's
trying.
why I keep cutting us off and redirecting us, because I'm like, we keep getting heady, and it's like, we can go on and on, but
we're gonna have a very light one next time. Yeah, we're gonna have. I think we should do like 90 sitcoms or some shit, maybe like something like that.
Because we like to kiki over here. It's not always heavy, but
it's not. All right, see y'all. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.